Hey, welcome back to BikeGeeks, and today I have a nice small accessory for you road bikers out there, and that is specifically people that have the drop bars. And this is Skins DSP. This is the 3.2 millimeter tape, so this is the thicker stuff. Since I got the Warbird here, like maybe if you've seen on the previous videos, the tape doesn't look so good, but we're going to get rid of that old garbage and get some really nice stuff on there. Now, if you've ever had the luxury of at least touching this stuff, it's really grippy, feels really good and cushiony, and I can't wait to get this on the bike because I've only touched and felt the 3.2 or the 2.5. They make some thinner stuff. This is a little bit more cushiony, which is kind of what I was looking for. Especially with it being a gravel bike, having all those vibrations, I think this would be a better set for it. But we'll find out, right? So we're going to do an install on it, and then I'll tell you what I think of it. At least you can see for yourself, though, as well as while it's going on. All right, in order to get ready to put the new tape on, we have to take the old tape off. Now, I already did the other side. Videoed it, actually, but the video was a little dark, so I'm brightening it up a little bit. So we just... The rubber hood on your actual levers here, you just roll that up to get to the actual access here. There's going to be electrical tape on this end holding it down. Maybe some tape as well covering the electrical tape, but typically that's what should be there. You're going to see this obviously in reverse when we put the new bar tape on. Where's the end of the tape? Maybe it is. It's just finding the end of the tape essentially so we can unwrap it. Yeah, anyways. Alright, so then she should just slowly unravel off. And there might be some electrical tape holding, like for instance, the actual levers or the cables for the levers themselves. There is some electrical tape right here holding them against the bar. Unless you think they need to be replaced, you shouldn't need to replace it, but that's up to you. It's your discretion. This stuff looks good and clean, so I'm just going to leave it in place. I'm just going to clean up the bar here after I get this tape off. And the bar end here. And everybody does their wrap jobs a little bit differently and how they do the process. I'm going to show you how I do mine. But I might get some alcohol just to clean this up a little bit, but most of it's coming off just by rubbing, I found. But I'm going to get the bars clean, and then we'll put the new stuff on. Oh, don't make sure you grab this little piece off as well that's covering that. So, all right, let me get it cleaned up. So I've got it all prepped, pretty much cleaned. I just used an old rag, and it actually took off all the old residue. I didn't have to use any alcohol or anything, so it's nice and clean and ready to go. Obviously, that's just something you want to do. So, in order to do this install, you'll have to have your package of DSP tape. This is going to come in the package. We'll actually open it here in a second. We'll need electrical tape to wrap the top here so it doesn't go anywhere. And then there is some colored wrap right here that actually goes over the electrical tape so it hides this. So no matter what color you produce, you'll still use just standard electrical tape. And then you'll need some scissors as well. Whether to cut the electrical tape if you need to, but just to trim the bar tape to size, because not all bars are the same length, and depending on how much overlap you have, you may have more extra than not. So you will have to cut it, just so you're aware of that, and you'll actually cut it at an angle, and we'll get to that when we actually do it. Excuse me. But in the packaging, if I can be smart enough to open this thing. Alright. Probably instructions in here as well. Yeah, there you go. There's some instructions for you. It comes with two of their bar tape. Basically, this is going to go over at the very end on each side. You have your plugs, which pretty much will be the last step, to be honest, to put in. And then you actually have your full piece of tape, bar tape itself. And then these little guys, I'm sure there's an actual name for them, but the ones that actually wrap here to essentially, when you get to this lever and you're doing your figure eight, if you don't put these in, you actually may see some of the bar. This is to cover that, so any laps, there's usually a little V in there, so you don't actually see any of the bar or anything like that. This stuff is very, very thick. It's very cushiony, so I'm looking forward to that. Nice and cushioned. But we're essentially set. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go over this real quick before I actually do it, and bring you in closer. You essentially start with when you start wrapping, about half of the tape, of this tape sticking out, so that you can basically fold it in and plug it later. These guys will go on, I've seen people put them on first and then just wrap. Put wrap and then hold it here, put these on, and then continue. It all depends on how well the sticky stuff on here goes. Usually I stick it on first, but of course it all depends on the brand. But on these, if you actually see here, they no matter what, the lizard skin is all wrapped and pointing the same direction on the roll. So I get picky and I want to be able to read the lizard skin label if I'm actually looking at the bar. So I want it all the same direction. But you actually wrap the opposite direction. Usually you wrap away from the bike. So on the top away, so it's on the left side it would be counterclockwise, on the right side it'd be clockwise. And that's not a requirement as well, but how I wrap, I guess. So let's bring it in, we'll get the wrapping done. I'm going to show you one side and then magically the second side will be done. Well, here's what I'll say. I'm not one to shun from my mistakes, so if I make a mistake, you are going to see it. You're welcome. So I took the little backing tape off this guy, and essentially I'm just going to go right over and center it and see how well it sticks. If it sticks by itself, great. If it doesn't, then I'll come back to it later. I don't know if it's going to hold itself or not. We'll give it a try. So I'm going to just go ahead and unwrap the tape. And what you usually do is just release the backing tape right away, but figure out exactly, see, it didn't hold. So I have the backing tape on that removed. I'll come back to that in a little bit. And figure out exactly how you're going to do it. So this side, I want the lizard skins, like I said, I want to be able to read it. So I'm going to be wrapping away from the bike like this. So I'm actually starting from the inside of the roll, working my way out. Not that that matters at all. But I'm going to go ahead and just remove the backing. And this is just kind of tedious work, right? This is just, it's going to take some time, and you start halfway, about halfway out. And what you really want is you want to have an even overlap, and keep that overlap the entire time. But you also, I usually try to get the sticky material on the bar itself rather than back on itself, right? Now, you're not trying to stretch this stuff. I mean, this is made out of foam and rubber, so if I pull really hard, I can stretch it. What we're going for is more of a constant pressure, keeping it so it actually does not get any, does not have any capability of loosening up, but also as things heat and cool, they expand and contract, and as they contract, we still want to make sure that it stays tight. So whether or not you're doing this in the middle of the winter or not, or in the middle of summer, it's not really going to matter too much. It's not going to expand and contract too much, but you want to make sure you keep a constant pressure so that you don't get any give. You also don't want to be able to move the bar once it's actually, or the tape once it's actually on. All right, so now that I'm up here at the bar, or at the grip, or at the, geez, I'm not even talking right, at the lever, this is where you want to get this ready. And this is where you really want to keep constant pressure, because you get a little loosening back here. This is where we go into our figure 8. And once we get this guy in place here, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap kind of a figure 8. So wrap up and around, then back down. You don't actually wrap around the actual lever. You make sure you only wrap around the bar. But essentially what we're going to do, if this makes any sense to you, is come up, and I'm just doing really bad doing this, trying to keep this on here properly. And like I said, I am not a professional installer. This is just how I've done it for years, I guess. Let's see, how does that look? A little bit of a goofy patch in there, but once you get to this point, it's okay to stop, because you can always redo this. You can always pull it back and redo it. Pull the hoods back and see what it actually looks like. Keep constant pressure on it. I may have done a little bit too much on there, but you know what? It doesn't look bad, does it? And that's essentially what you're going for. You're going for something that's solid, but really looks good. You don't want to see anything up in there. And on both sides, they look solid. This part in here is, is important, but I mean, to be honest, it's not the end of the world. But in the end, I'm just going to do this for giggles. Let's say I did mess up. Well, I didn't pull that all the way off, did I? Let's get this paper out of the way. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, well then you kind of still try to keep constant pressure on it. You just undo it a little bit and see that it's not the end of the world if you mess up. And then you would come back in here. Make sure that that's proper in there again. We're doing our figure 8 again. And again, in this area here, it's all about constant pressure, so everything stays smooth and wrapped good. All right. I think that was actually a little bit better than I did the first time. And I just did that just to show you guys that you can undo it. So, again, whenever you get to this point, check it. You can leave the hoods down after you get it down. It looks really good. I cannot see anything up in there. All I see is bar tape. So, now we just keep wrapping, doing the same overlay we were doing down here for the same distance between the wrappings. Again, constant pressure. And now we get to this point where we're coming to the flare up, where we're going from a standard bar size to the flare up where you have the large diameter for where the stem connects. This is where we're going to want to stop, and we're going to want to cut at an angle. So if you actually hold the tape at the correct angle, and then you look at it at kind of a 90 degree, that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to cut the tape at that 90 degree, or to the bar itself. So you get this really heavy angle on it, like this. That is what we want, because we want it to be even all the way across, so when we come back around, we actually have a fairly straight edge on it. While you're holding that little nib, that's what you're going to need, the piece of electrical tape, or this is kind of one of those, if you cut a piece of it, that's fine. I like wrapping with it on the roll itself. And all we're going to do is do a nice thin little layer of electrical tape that's actually going to help hold it. I'm going to actually cut this so I get a nice clean edge on it. That's holding down the bar. The tape's not going to unwind on itself. And then you would use the lizard skin tape to wrap on top of that to make it look really good and clean. Now, here's the thing. You always want to wrap it so that the edge is not on top, right? You want to make it so it's hidden. So we're going to kind of wrap it like this. So that is down in there. Probably going to go the other direction. So if I start halfway up, I'll get a seam in a spot that I'm not going to physically see. And that's the whole point. So if I wrap from that point, yep, right about there. Okay, so now I take the tape. It's just kind of rough. It's got the same material on the top as the actual bar tape does. So, boy, that backing just doesn't want to come off. There we go. And again, I want to be able to read the Lizard Skins label, so do it correctly here. Alright. And again, with this stuff, just like electrical tape or just like the bar tape, constant pressure all the way around, and then match up the lines. I'll get a little closer here so you can see it. And there we go. A little bit of crinkling there, but that's okay. That looks like a solid bar tape job. And then at the end, the last step is our little Lizard Skins logo, I guess is maybe the best way to put it on our bar end. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually take the actual inside part of this bar tape, tuck it into the bar, and then stick the cap in to hold it. And that is how you put on bar tape. Now, there are several different ways that people do that specific section, but if you do one side one way and the other side the other way, it'll just look good and clean. So that's the one thing that you kind of want to start with. So that is how you do it. I'm going to get the other side done, and then we'll talk about it. So after I did the one side, I realized that the bike kind of was scooting forward on me in the video, and I apologize for that. But this way, maybe you can see a little bit more accurately the top end job that I did. So again, now I'm getting to this point here where I want to stop it right at this flange. So again, on this side just as the other side, we're going to cut. So if we think of the bar as 90 degrees from the bar would be straight out from the bar, that's what we want to kind of cut these at. Of course, my scissors don't. I guess I'm pushing the wrong way. There we go. So I'm going to get over here. Cutting toward me doesn't work as well. Sorry about that, guys. And it's not a big deal about this cut. Actually, I might want to cut it a little shorter than that because it's a little... Let's get a little bit... Let's see. That's not bad. There we go. That'll work. And I mean, this side of it, it's not really going to matter because this is going to be all under tape. So once we have it cut there, and now we have a nice straight line, essentially because we cut that at an angle. If we didn't cut it at an angle, it'd look a little funkier. So, need the electrical tape. Keep constant pressure on it. And the electrical tape, we just stick it on, and essentially we're just covering up between the bar and the end there. And this is just a few wraps. You don't need much of this. This is, yes, it's holding it, but in the end, that'll look a little funky right there. I don't know if I like that. So, but this is where you want to fix it before you actually finish it. So we're gonna undo that. I may have just cut the bar tape a little long. When I went back here to do that, yeah, I think I'm just a little long yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it shorter because I want to be right at that flange there, right about there. Okay, it's all about looks on this side of it. It's not about anything else. There we go. That looks a lot better. You know what? I'm going to use a new electrical tape. That way I get a good seal on it. With electrical tape, it's all about stretching it a little bit because you want it to stick good and you want it to be nice and smooth. You don't want to have little air gaps in there. And then the final piece again is the Lizard Skins tape. This stuff again, I'm going to kind of mash what I did over there. I want to actually see if I can get the logos even in the same spot as I did over there, which is going to be harder, but we'll give it a try. We'll give it a try. So release the backing off this stuff, and this stuff has a lot of stretch to it. I've noticed that. I noticed that the last time I did it. So what we're doing is we're going over the black tape. Yeah, it's not going to be as easy to get the same side on it, but that's all right. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now we're just going to try to get match over the existing tape there, and there we go. The seam is on the bottom, not on the top. We look good and clean, and now I have my nice blue tape on my orange bike. So I hope that part was a little entertaining. You will have excess, right? You will have stuff that's cut off that's, well, you can use on whatever you want to use it on. In my case, I have about a little over a foot, 16 inches or so of excess tape. And that's what it's going to be. I actually didn't put the plug on the other side yet. But that's, you know, they give you extra tape because not everybody has the same length bar. Not everybody has, you know, does the same rep. Some people overwrap more. So there's a lot of variations. But I will say that, and I've ridden on the 2.5 before in other Lizard Skins tape because I've actually used Lizard Skins tape before. But the DSP, the 3.2 stuff is really cushiony. It's got a lot of cushion to it, a lot of good grip. And that's what I really like about this stuff is the grip. It's synthetic, so it's not going to soak water up, and it's going to last a while. That's the big benefit of Lizard Skin tape in general is they make some really good stuff. So all in all, pretty awesome stuff. It went on really smooth, went on really easy. They give you obviously everything you need. If you have any questions about it, let me know. But I know I'm going to love it. I know for a fact that it's going to be great stuff. A lot better than the garbage that was on it. But I mean, there's other stuff out there, you know, that's leather. Like Brooks makes some good leather stuff. They also make some synthetic stuff that I think is really nice. But I decided to go with the cushion, more cushion on this one. That way I have a little more comfortable bar. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking us out. We'll have more videos soon because I have a lot of products to get to you guys, to show you guys. And if you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video that we have more people here finding the videos and we get more products into to showcase. But otherwise, check us out on our sister channels, Tech Gooch, Geek Smart, Camp Geeks. I have lots of products all over the place. So thanks for checking us out, and we'll catch you on our future video here on Bike Geeks. See you soon.